Good evening and good day. Yet again, we are coming to you with a very special episode of Jury Duty, so I don't want to waste any time. Let's just get into it. Still chewing a piece of candy. My name is Kyle Petty. I am joined by the never not handsome John Dunphy. And we are so happy to be Gabbin with the most gorgeous gal we ever did see, Miss Gabbie. Yes, this is Jury Duty, your favorite Big Brother podcast. You can find us on the socials at BB Jury Duty or on our website at bbjuryduty.com. All right, now that we got that out of the way. Hi, hello, and welcome.
Hi.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Yes, thank you.
This has been such a long time coming. I feel like I've been talking to you for the longest. I can't believe I get to actually look at you. This is so incredible to me. So thank you for taking some time with us. So first question, just a little something baseline, like very, very simple. You know, what did you love and hate most about being in the Big Brother house?
Oh, goodness. I mean, all of it. Brother was just such a roller coaster. I'm obviously was really close with Drew, and he used to joke about the fact that I would be like, one day, I love it here, I hate it here, I love it here, I hate it here. Because one day we'd be doing something fun and getting along as a big, happy family, and then something will change, and people are arguing, and people are fighting. So the whole experience as a whole was a love-hate relationship. As much as I did enjoy almost every second of it, yeah, the whole experience was a love-hate.
I believe it. Oh gosh, there's so many things to talk about here. Being new to this whole reality TV concept, right? Do you always think about these cameras like constantly on you, or is this like something you eventually forget about? Like, what does that feel like?
I think it was really hard going into it and knowing that people are going to have to like me for flaws and all. Personally, I feel like I was always really careful in the way I did conduct myself when, cameras are on everywhere. So not just when cameras are on, but all the time, because you're in control of everything you say and everything you do. I never believe that there's like a bad edit or you've been displayed wrong, because people can't put words into your mouth. Production can't put words into your mouth. So in a personality sense, I was very careful in making sure that I kept all my integrity, or at least tried to. But then looks wise, you got to embrace cameras just being everywhere and filming you when you're asleep with your mouth open or in the pool or bending over. You just have to, I think I had to almost encourage myself to be brave and just be like, okay, we're not all perfect, and just accept defeat and go, everyone's going to see me at my best and my worst.
Right.
I don't think that good.
I would have a hard time. Like, I could go either way. I feel like I could have a hard time forgetting about the cameras, but I feel like if you're in there for enough time, it would just become so like second nature that you're like, oh, I'm just living in my house, and like start to act like the way you normally would. I don't know though.
Yeah, like I feel like it's really important to be yourself, and if you are just being yourself, then the cameras don't matter anyway.
That's very true. That is very true. Wow, very smart.
All right. I mean, unless there's like sides of yourself that you're just not super proud of. Like, listen, I acknowledge that that's a part of me. I don't want anybody to see it.
Yeah, but I mean, that's like even the sassy side of me. Like sometimes I know I can give a little bit of like a bark or a little bit of a bite, but that's me as well. If you love it, you do. If you don't, that's also okay.
Fair. All right. So listen, we know this house is on rations, and like, yeah, looks really, really challenging. What did you miss most while you were in the house?
My favorite food is easily like Italian, so spaghetti or pizza are like my absolute go-tos, and it's not even as if we could like make something similar. So every time Big Brother, before we'd have like a shopping task or like a meal task, he would ask and be like, what would you really love to have? And I think religiously I was like, pizza. Just bring in pizza and I'll be one very happy little girl. And then they did, but then I lost the challenge anyway. So I had to eat like a can of tin spaghetti and a piece of bread. And I remember Taras and I were like, do we toast the bread? And he was like, this doesn't get any better if you toast it or not. And I was like, facts. So he's like, yeah, this isn't getting any better. And I was like, yeah,
Bad is
right.
bad. Bad is bad.
Yeah.
Can you shine some light on some of the? Oh, I'm sorry, totally running over you because I'm really excited about Australian snacks. I just want to talk about Australian food. So
yes,
bad.
Kyle. Yes, we definitely need to talk about Australian snacks. I just was wondering though, because I feel like we saw so many challenges where like whether it was just the task wasn't completed or it was some temptation and somebody chose the temptation over the whatever it was, like how hard was it like when you didn't have that budget, like to get the food that you need? Because I feel like you got to be so hungry in there.
Well, like especially at the start. So obviously you enter the house, rations are given, you haven't won a shopping task, and we haven't had a meal task within, I think, roughly like the first 5 days. So I remember it was a really sad breakfast that I would make, and it was like oats with milk, but like in a banana. So no brown sugar or no honey or nothing to kind of make it somewhat sweet. And for a little bit, like we didn't even have salt. Salt on food, like spice and flavor is so important. So the fact that we had no salt was insane. I think even at one point the sewer rats, like Trev, Layla, and Drew took it, and we had a full interrogation in the house being like, who has taken the salt? Like just things in the outside world you don't blink at. But I kid you not, I remember walking into the treehouse and Joel and Taras were sitting there looking at me like, did you take the salt? And I was like, no, you psychos. I didn't. Like I hide cordial, yes. Salt, no.
That is exactly what I want to ask you about. This cordial is what you call it. What is it? It looks delicious. This lime green thing.
Oh my God,
everybody's drinking in like wine glasses. Like, what is this?
So it's just like a really sweet syrup that we put in water or like a soda water, and it'll make it that flavor. So like stuff you'd put, like a syrup you put on like a snow cone, or I'm trying to think of other ways to put it, but it was just like a flavored syrup that you add to water to make that water then taste really sweet.
Almost like a Kool-Aid.
Yeah, cool. No, exactly like Kool-Aid. Exactly.
Right. I was like, I'm going to say Kool-Aid. She's like, what are you talking about?
No, I did an exchange to San Diego in high school, so I spent a bit of time in the States.
Oh, very fun.
Nice.
Very fun.
Very cool. Yeah.
You didn't come to New York?
I've been to New York on holiday and I loved it. Oh my goodness, my hat. I'm like, this is where it all kind of started.
We have talked about your hat.
Yeah.
How do they know? Like, that's so crazy. Wait. Oh my gosh. Now I have new questions. All right.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
I don't want to forget. No, don't say sorry. Don't say sorry. There's a lot to talk about. All right. So the food. All right. Everyone's talking about all these different types of snacks and everything. And there had been this thing on Twitter because like people were talking about Super Dupers, right? And I was like, what is a Super Duper? I feel like I need to try it. And I went on Twitter and I was like, can somebody please tell me what this is? And I got an alarming response. Many people, you Australians are very passionate about your Super Dupers. Okay. I got a lot of responses from strangers who couldn't wait to tell me all about it. What other snacks do you like? What is a Tim Tam?
Yes, I'm so curious about Tim Tams.
I'm so curious about
Tim Tams. What do I need to write down both of your addresses and be like, I will personally send you these at this point.
I mean, I would love that, but that's where I'm going with this because Lulu actually responded and she sent me this website of like Australian snacks, and like apparently like shipping is like $30. And I already said to John, I was like, let's get a list of all the Australian snacks that we want to try, and like I'm gonna force you to split the shipping, and we're just gonna get them all.
I'm trying to think of everything that I would bring over when I'd go to visit, and like so Tim Tams are like two biscuits, and then there's like a cream chocolate filling, and then there's chocolate coated around it. It's really lovely.
Wow. Yeah, I heard Johnson asking for Tim Tams.
Yeah.
He was very disappointed that they didn't get the Tim Tams.
And I was like, I need to know what this is.
Yeah, so they're a bit of an Aussie delicacy. You have lamingtons, obviously.
Lemingtons. What is a lemington?
They're another one of our little Aussie fun things. So it's like, oh goodness, it's like cake, but it's cut in half, like a little cake cut in half, and then there's jam in the middle, and then it's coated in chocolate and coconut.
Coconut.
Yeah, I know. Like, whoa.
So what you're saying is Australians have the best snacks around.
I
Is that
don't
what
know,
you're
but
saying?
you guys have Cheez-It, goldfish. I love that stuff.
Oh, that's not available everywhere. See, that's interesting too. I wonder what we have that you don't, that you like. Well, tell us. I have to wonder.
Well, so Cheez-Its and goldfish are two of my all-time favorite.
Cheez-Its are out of this world. Okay,
Yeah.
out of this world. But I'm a purist. I like a plain Cheez-It. I don't.
I like
want
the white cheddar Cheez-Its.
I just say I don't want the white cheddar. Is fine. It's fine. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's not. It's not the classic. All right. I want the basic. Yeah, I want the basic. Cheez-It.
Basic girls.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Yeah. No,
What
I
else?
would say
What else?
what's my other at Costco, you guys have they're my favorite every time I go when I come. They're like pretzels where they have peanut butter inside.
Oh yes.
Yeah, those tiny little bite-sized
The best.
pretzels that have peanut butter inside. They're like, that's it. That's my hand down favorite thing.
Those are
Wait,
so
what?
good.
Oh, I know about these. What are they?
You
what
don't
are
know
they?
about
Pretzels
wrong
with
with you,
peanut
man?
butter inside? You know I'm a peanut butter whore. Okay, like what? Oh my
pretzels
goodness.
with peanut butter. I
But
can't.
what
I'm,
is it
so, I'm
called?
shocked you haven't had these. I don't
Yeah.
know, pretzel with peanut butter inside. That's what I call it.
Come on, John. I mean, who makes them?
Chris' website right now being like,
I think different pretzel companies make them. I've seen Utz, I think, make them. You know,
Wow.
we're talking about pretzel company. We're talking to Gabbie, and we're arguing about pretzel companies.
I don't see who's arguing. I'm in agreement. This sounds- yeah, there's no argument. There's no objection here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm very, very intrigued by all of these Australian snacks.
and
yeah.
Shapes is another one.
Who?
So Shapes are like, they're I'm trying to think of it because they're like, we call crackers and what you guys call crackers are very different things. So
Yeah, you say crackers. I think Ritz or saltines. You know, like very like.
yeah, where I
They're
think it's actually different. They're kind of similar to like the texture of Cheez-Its, but
Okay.
they'll be like a bit more biscuity, I guess.
Huh.
And they like have a barbecue flavor, they have a pizza flavor. You need to add Shapes to the order when you guys get them.
Mm,
Yes, when you
okay.
order from Aussie Snacks, Shapes as well. And there's so many flavors. And Vegemite, obviously, classic.
Wow.
And what's that?
Vegemite, oh my goodness. I'm like, what do you mean?
It's just like obviously a classic. I'm like, well, no.
Yeah, and you're looking at me and I'm like,
The only snacks we know of are the ones we've heard you guys talk about in the house.
And
oh,
we
I
don't
love it.
really know them. We just know enough of them to ask about it.
Yeah, to ask
We just
about
like
them.
saying them. Tim Tams and
Yeah.
Super Dupers.
Look,
Yeah,
this is fun things to say.
So Vegemite is like a spread. So like how you put on peanut butter. But it's just like, I'm pretty sure you can only get it in Australia.
Okay.
So
But
it's
what is
really
it?
it's really salty. Every time I brought it to America, they hate it. So I wish you luck.
You notice how my face scrunched up. Salty.
Yeah, I'm like, Zoom me, FaceTime me before you put it on so I can tell you the right amount that you need. Because otherwise, if you put it on like peanut butter, it is disgusting. So
Oh, so like
Yeah.
less is more.
yes.
All right.
100%.
Okay.
We're gonna go to the Lulu website and we're gonna see what we can find.
Yes. Well, we can order. We can do the shopping
Yeah.
task together.
Yes.
Oh yes. Oh,
I
love that.
I absolutely love that. As a PS, also, it's so interesting too because the way the Australians consume like Big Brother content and everything on social media is so very different from what we're used to. Because here in America, like, you know, people love to catfish and they like to act like, you know, they're somebody who they're not. And it's like, oh, I'm Gabbie. And it's like, but I know you're not. Like, you're tweeting and acting like you're her and you stole her picture from some website. And it's like, this goes on a lot, like in our social media, right? So,
Oh, wild. I'm like, where
Yeah.
are they? I want to see them.
oh my gosh, it happens so often, right? So Lulu in the beginning of like this season was like talking to me, but I was like, 70 followers. You're not the real Lulu. I don't know who Lulu this is. And then when I started to see like some of the OGs who had their little verified check mark, like interacting with her, I was like, that was Lulu.
Yeah,
And,
you're like, wait,
I unfollowed her. So like If you're paying any attention, Lulu, I thought you were a fraud. It's not rude.
I'm
It's
sorry,
not like
Lulu.
I'm so sorry, Lulu. I still love you. I still love you. Yeah, that's all. Quick aside.
Love that.
What questions do we have left here?
Well, we have
Now
another
we're
question.
Now we get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. If you want to move on to this one, here we go. So, while you were a newbie, you often voted with the OGs, right? Very often. So, how did this affect your personal relationships with the newbies? I know, in particular, it seemed very hard for Alicia, as a a newbie to see you go. So, but did playing with the OGs affect your relationships with any of the newbies?
Oh, 100%. Like Leash and I walked in together, and obviously, like, I'm 22, she's 24, two young girls walking into the Big Brother house, like instant friends. And then the game kind of unfolded, and we ended up on different sides, and we were both like, wait a minute, you're there and I'm here. So it was really hard for us to navigate, because she would make certain moves and I would be like, but that's damaging my game, and I'd make certain moves and she'd be like, this is damaging her game. So it was really hard. It was really, really hard to try and navigate the friendship as well as the game. And she would always reference, she'd be like, oh, but you're my friend, but you're not like my business friend. And it was really tricky. It is really tricky. And like, even Johnson and I would bond over he loves his family and I'm so close with mine. So we really missed home pretty badly. And so we grew really close over that. And then Taras and I, obviously somewhat playing in the middle, we developed a really strong friendship too. So it was hard to try and keep everybody on side. But yeah, it's difficult. It would easily affect our relationships. Yeah.
I feel like the lines probably get so blurred too, because there is a lot of downtime in the house, right? Like we see a lot of competitions and tasks and the panic room and this. So it seems like there's always so much action, but like you guys were probably spending a lot of time just like hanging out together. So like you feel like I'm just hanging out with my friends, and then you have to remember, no, I'm in the middle of a really high stakes game for a lot of money.
Yeah, it's like you're sitting there and you're trying to listen properly and get to know everybody properly, but you're also listening to like everyone else's conversations just in case they're talking about the game and they're talking about you. So you're trying to get to know everybody beyond a surface level, but it's so hard because like you're not actively listening. You're like just nodding and you're like, but like, is Johnson talking about me, or is that person talking about me? But there is so much downtime, or like even sometimes Big Brother would say, all right, guys, it's time for bed. And then we would lay in bed and we'd be just talking for like hours, because everyone's falling asleep and people would barely be talking about strategy, that you finally got to like, Taras and I used to lay down for ages and we'd just be chatting and be like, so who do you miss the most at home? And he'd say like his girlfriend at the time. Or so there's a lot of stuff that gets missed. And I think although you get to watch this beautiful game and this beautiful like divide, everyone at the end of the day had some sort of relationship.
Yeah. Well, you can see it with how tough these evictions are.
Yeah. And even then, like something that has been missed that was really beautiful. After everybody was evicted, we almost did like a little wake. So Big Brother would, it's really cool.
Circle talk.
Oh no, hold on, bless you guys. There you go. But yeah, so we would have our little drinks that came from Big Brother, which was not enough. But we got to have a little and kind of just speak about like our favorite thing about that person. And if we genuinely didn't have connections with everybody, people would be like, oh, but what do I say? And everybody would always say something lovely. So it was cool that we had either mutual respect or some sort of underlying relationship, it was good. It was good.
Right. Yeah. I think that's great. I do want to ask a question that completely unrelated, but when you're in the bedroom, there's a lot of things that now go on like outside the bedroom, like while you guys are sleeping, like as far as Big Brother, like moving things around, like reorganizing the house or something like that. How did you not hear these things? Were you just not allowed to leave the room? Like, how did that work?
It would depend, but if anything was done overnight, I don't know how they must work like ninjas, or they must just work in silence, because it would be insane. Like we would go to bed one day and wake up the next and there's dance floors everywhere. So I was like,
how are they pulling this off? Like, how are they pulling this off?
Like I remember walking out, and I remember even stepping on a cake as I walked out, and I was like, what is this? And like I look everywhere, and I look in the treehouse, there's streamers, the whole living room's obviously turned upside down, and I'm like, how can they do this in silence? How have they
do you have to leave the bedroom to get to the bathroom?
So we had our beautiful bathrooms outside, but there was, I think, maybe 2 bathrooms, or no, maybe it was 1 that was in the laundry. So if we did need to use it during the night, we were always encouraged to use that one if the door was locked. So we kind of would get locked in, and that's when we're like, well, something must be happening tonight. Otherwise, yeah, you could just wander down the hallway.
Okay. I was so curious about that. I was like, because here in America, we get feeds and things like that. So, we get the live feeds. So we kind of know like what's going on, and we very easily get spoiled and things like that. So there's not a lot of secrets like for us. So this is like, this mystical thing just like keeps happening and no one knows. Like, are you really surprised? Like when you left, you didn't hear that going on? Yeah, that's interesting. Very cool.
Yeah, they must just pull things off. It's incredible. Like, and sometimes I feel like TV, like obviously seeing it through the TV doesn't even display how crazy it was. Like with that mess challenge when we woke up and it was like the storm had come through the back.
Oh yeah.
Remember the telegraph pole, and like I remember we woke up and it wasn't like a pleasant wake up. They woke us up to lightning, and I was like, I don't like this. I was like, this. I was actually scared. I was like, this is not how I've woken up in the morning ever. So it would be really fun to be on the other side of Big Brother, to be either creating the concepts or creating the challenges, because they would have if we have this much fun, it would be fun making them.
No, I love that.
Wow.
That's fun. All I remember about that storm was Tully coming out the back like, the chairs. It's just like, why does nobody care about the chairs? Like, it's just so silly.
I just look here and like, Tully, that's not it. That's like this. The whole yard is ruined, and you're worried about a chair.
It's like, do you see everything else?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
that was just
big hose coming over, and it was just like bucketing down because obviously it wasn't raining, so I had to make it rain. And I was just like, they just don't miss a beat, do they? They just have to get it all. They have to put us through everything.
They really, really did.
Oh wow.
I don't think a lot of Americans could get through like an Australian Big Brother season.
Really? What makes you say that?
Yeah. We're punks. Like compared to what you guys go through, like the American Big Brother.
Oh my god.
At all.
The panic rooms. I feel like I know some American BB players that would just like self-evict after one of those panic rooms.
This isn't for me.
No, some of them wouldn't even make it to the panic room. I mean, like if people had to do even like I don't even remember what the theme was because I feel like it was so long ago. The only scene of this that I really remember was Johnson and Alicia laying down like with the bird feed and like the chickens coming at Alicia. Whatever that theme was and that whole challenge was, like most Americans would have just bailed.
And like Leash was terrified because I remember I said like, what's your biggest fear? And she was like, well, it's chickens. And I was like, that's funny. And then I saw her with them and I was like, oh my God, this is real. This is very real. She is very scared. So no, she's definitely a trooper for pushing through that. But you have Johnson was just so funny. He was just covered in molasses or whatever it is, and like the chickens were just all over him. And I was like, that's a no from me.
Yeah,
that's a no from me.
I have to ask. I have to ask about because we've mentioned Alicia, we've mentioned panic rooms. I really want to hear a little bit more about the panic room experience that you and Alicia had with the keys. When she thought when she first thought there was a chicken in the box. But that whole panic room was wild.
Yeah. Well, it was like, so we walk in and we're looking around. I'm like, there's clearly keys. And first of all, I'm so competitive. It's not even funny. So I was like, I want to be the first person to beat a panic room. And we walk in and she starts being like, there's a chicken in there. And I was like, girl, we need to get it together. And like, look at me. Like, there's not a chicken in there. We are going to be okay. I can guarantee. But no, that was like, I didn't want to see a key for days. And I can even remember getting calluses on like my finger and my thumb from just turning them constantly. And like some were attached to like elastic bands. So you're trying to pull it off the wall to see if it'll get there. And I would love to know how many keys were actually in that room because the task felt impossible, whether it was or wasn't, no idea. But yeah, and we got so close. We got one off. I was like, no.
All
Like-
of those were designed to lose.
Yeah.
Like, and you knew it going in, at least as a viewer. I enjoyed it for that reason. I was like, okay, so
Yeah.
Right.
who are the two people we're going to be making fun of this week? And I enjoyed it like for that reason. Like, yeah.
Well,
100%.
you
My
guys
favorite
were
was
just so great. It was just so fun to watch. I'm sorry.
I'm glad. But that I reckon Lulu and Tim with putting up the tent in the dark was hilarious. I thought it was just the perfect pair and the perfect challenge for them both.
Yeah.
I can now Lulu just be like, Tim, no. Like,
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
yeah.
And to go back to the chicken thing, let me tell you something. I don't
Yes.
do birds like in any sense. Like I so deeply felt exactly like I'm watching it and I'm laughing, but I'm also like totally like skeeved. Like
Yeah.
birds and I, like, we don't do it. We don't mix. And John will tell you, I see one bird and I'll spill my drink. I'll drop all my Cheez-Its. Like, I'm out of here. Like,
But it's not even it's not even like a fear of birds. It's like a hatred for birds.
it's everything. I just think they are the most vile creatures like on earth. They are so unpredictable. They're always twitching. Like, I mean, like birds are just like the absolute worst. Like, I give Alicia so much credit for even giving that a go, because I would no, like there is no world where I can even imagine some bird like pecking on my fucking chest. Like I would just die. I would die. I think I'd have a heart attack. Like this is absolutely no way. I am really, really impressed with her. Like, and that's what I mean. Like Americans would not put up with this. Like,
I would like to
outta
say
here.
I'm done. Thank you.
I'm done. Thank you. We had a really good time. Thank you so much for your hospitality. But I am going to take my leave.
Yeah. Some of the challenges were just, unbelievable.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
Wow.
Well, since we're sort of here, now we're going to go out of order, but who cares? Have you ever seen an international version of Big Brother?
I have watched the UK version, yes.
Oh, okay.
That's the only one we don't know.
Really? Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I remember.
I don't know it. I don't know it.
Gemma Collins is like an infamous. She was on, what was it called?
Was it the celebrity one?
Yeah, it's the celebrity one that got me on board. And she was just so funny. And that's why I love that version of the game, because you could kind of be yourself and not worry about being like putting anybody offside, because if Australia or your country thought you were funny and thought you were worth keeping in, they would do it. So like I remember she would be in bed some days and she would be like, producers, like, I'm not getting up, I'm not ready for the day. And like she was just my favorite her of all time, and I'll do it in a British, well, I attempt to, but she goes, I love you, but I ain't staying here. And I thought it was hilarious. Like, the amount of times I was in that house and I just thought it, I was like, oh my God, I'm embracing my Gemma Collins right now, because I was like, I can't, this is hard. But yeah, that's probably, I'd love to watch. I think Tim played Canada once, so I'd love to watch that. But I'd be really
Canada's good. Canada's good. Listen, ours is good too, though. Ours is good too. It's
we talk down on ours a
it's
lot,
not-
but
no, we talk down on ours a lot, but honestly,
we
that's
love
the whole
it.
reason why we started the podcast. Like, because we do love it enough. Yeah, like ours is just very different. But Canada is modeled very much after ours. And that's not really being elitist. Like they really did come after ours.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes
I'm not being a
do it
typical
better.
American. Oh no. I will say that the Canadian version I think is still better. I still think they took our show and made it better. Because we watched our first one with BB Can 10, which was like out of this world. Yeah, because everyone actually plays the game. Here in America, you kind of get like one big like alliance, and they just kind of steamroll over everyone. It's like that's not interesting. Like I like to flip-flopping back and forth, and that's why a player like you was so much fun to watch, because it's like I don't know what she's gonna do, and I love that. And no one should. I'm not even sure that she should know exactly what she's going to do yet, because this game is changing so often and it's changing so drastically that like you shouldn't have a clue. If you're not confused, you're not playing. That's kind of how I feel. These middle players, as they call them, it's like, I don't know. They're the ones that are playing the game right.
Well, it's really like, and I think it was really hard in the house because I felt really underestimated because people call you floaters and like fence sitters. And I was like, guys, I hate to break it to you, but if I'm the swing vote, I control the game. So
Yep.
it was really hard. And I remember I kind of worked it out early. I can remember early on, it was one of, I think in the first week episodes where Joel was frantically trying to get rid of Drew and he came up to me and kind of did dish me a threat. And I loved it because my response was just like, does that sound like a threat, Joel? And to see him so scared, I was like, I must be doing something right. Like this must be, if he doesn't know what I'm doing, this is perfect. And I remember because obviously at the start I was trying to find my feet and work out who I probably aligned with more out of newbies and OGs. And Joel and Johnson and Alicia were like, you need to plan ahead. You need to plan ahead. And I was like, guys, I'm just trying to get to tomorrow. I'm not planning for the top 3. I'm not planning for top 10. I need to just make it every day. So, and I think as much as obviously, sadly, I'm out now, I don't think I would have made it this far if I had have done the whole pre-planning thing. I loved the way I played. So I'm, really content.
Yeah, no, well, you should be. You really, really should be.
You should be so proud. You played amazing. You were one of my favorite people to watch the entire season. And even if other people might call you like a floater or whatever, I don't consider you a floater at all. Every week, everybody needed to come to you, ask where you were voting, what you were thinking. I wouldn't consider you a floater at all. I thought that you were such a good game player. Nobody knew where at any time where you were going to land, but they knew they needed your vote. I thought that you had played such a great game. And I mean, when you think about it too, there were people in there like Drew, for example, who got evicted twice before you. Alicia even got evicted and had to come back and be saved. They were people, you made it so far through so many people that didn't get to come back, and even some people that did get to come back, you outlast. You know what I mean? So you should be so proud of your game.
Oh, and I mean, I won't. I'm not gonna cry. I'm okay. But it means the world. Like I said, I felt so underestimated in the game, and so many people were like, "She's not playing. She's not playing." And I was like, "I am. It's just my own
right."
I'm trying my best, but I did. I played. It wouldn't say it's different. There's probably people who've done it before, but it was just to keep my friends in, stay loyal, stay as honest as you can get in the Big Brother house, but. That's why I think it was really fun to kind of, I guess, end with some sort of bang of having control of the house nom situation and then to nominate almost straight after. That was just a highlight for people. To just show, I was like, I've tried to warn you that I was playing, but I'll show you it publicly now. So yeah, it was good but hard.
It's just also so ridiculous, the concept of saying that somebody is a floater, but they're involved in every eviction vote conversation. That's what made us fall in love. There were a lot of other newbies. This was an interesting season because these OGs were not known to us, right? So we're seeing a lot of these OGs because they're supposed to be Australia's favorite or whatever. But we wanted to see more of the newbies, but we saw more of you than most. It was you, Alicia, and Johnson were the newbies that you saw the most. And it's because even with whatever popularity of the OGs, you could not ignore the fact that the 3 of you were in there. And Taras too.
Yeah.
No, that's why we fell in love with Taras too. I know. Yeah. Yikes. We'll cut that part out where we didn't say his name. Well, you know what? That's what he gets for that whole sandcastle thing earlier today. Did anybody see that on Twitter? Because I feel like he tried it. Because he said to me, he's like, "Oh, I love you, Kyle, nearly as much as my sandcastles." I was like, "Nearly as much?" I was like, "I'm not even worth a pile of dirt." I was like, "So you tried it." So you know what, Taras?
What have you done? What have you done?
Taras, forget it. No, you deserve. No, you don't deserve it. I'm sorry. Just kidding. We're having fun. But no, how could you say that people like that are floating when you're involved in every single conversation? I don't know. But again, I think that's the difference with how people view this game, country-wise.
Yeah.
See, that's the hard thing as well, because you're trying to play the game, but obviously with Australia being the public vote at the end, you're playing a production game in your head being but if I backstab somebody, the Aussies are going to kill me for it. Or if I get Queen Reggie out, they're going to come for me. So it was, you're almost playing 2 different games. One that's if I make it to the end, I want to at least be able to win. Because if you do too much damage, but you get to top 3, it's not even worth it, I think, anyway.
Right. We've discussed this a lot. So that was on your mind for sure. Like that was actually one of our questions. So that's kind of like perfect. You just really just kind of answered it, but like awesome, we're there. So like yeah. So that's why no one's making these moves against like a Reggie.
I think as much as like everybody does adore her, and that's not discrediting her because she's incredible, but you just don't want to be the person that sends Reggie home because you won't win. That's just facts.
Right. It's
So
really
I think it's very careful and very scared to do it because nobody wants to ruin their chances of winning.
right. Which like it really puts the newbies in such an impossible position because this is for people. This is a dream, and this is why me and Kyle like coming from BBUS, like we don't get all of the newbie hate. Like, of course, people are gonna love Tim and Reggie and Tully and all that because they know them and they love them. But at the same time, you can't just like discount all these newbies because it's their dream also to go into that house and win the game and become legends of the game, and they can't do that unless, sadly, because we love the OGs, we do, but like they have to go in order for a newbie to win and become one of those legends. So it puts you guys in just like an impossible situation.
Yeah.
And it was so hard to navigate too because that was the case. And we didn't know going in, obviously, that it was all stars or it was OGs versus newbies, whatever they've decided to call it. But I remember they said, are you not upset that like we've just jumped in on your Big Brother experience? And at the time I was like, no, this is great. I love this. It's going to be a fun season. It's going to be a big season. But now obviously watching it back, like we are so on the back foot, even in like a social space. So Reggie, her first time around did 100 days in the house. She's now done 150 days in a Big Brother like house. I've done 50. Australia have only got to know me a third of the amount that they've got to know Reggie, which is such a back foot to be in. So I'd love to see like a newbie take it out, but if an OG's there, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, and that's so interesting to me because that's so not how it would go here. We have seen like other people who have played the game before re-enter a house, and everyone is like, all right, she's got to go first. Get her out of here. Get her out. And it's like, and everyone in America is like, yeah, she's got to go. And it's like, and you're watching this.
They're like, get this gal out of here.
Yes, like, well, of course she has to go. You're right. Get her out of here. First chance you get. And here it's like, no, how dare you? How dare you say anything against my beloved? And it's like, this is not what it's supposed to be.
No, and I even said that as much as I loved Tim, I said I would love to be the person that sends him home because you're beating the master at his game. Like that's incredible.
Right.
So shame I didn't get the chance. I adore him. So
yeah, but then it also comes with that little thing on the back end that like if I do this and now like am I going to get any votes at the end? You almost have to now change who you want to end the game with based on the fact that you played the game.
No.
Damn. Everyone should just get to come back and get a do-over, because like, or bring in a jury because like people who actually understand this game, like wouldn't behave this way. All right. This is where people should not have the right to vote. That's terrible.
Obviously the old version. So like if I had been up for nomination, Australia would have been able to put me back in or not, and I would have been able to continue or not. So I wish it had been live. I reckon that would have been incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely different experience.
Wow. It does make me think, though, I would love to see this cast of movies come back, though. That would honestly be awesome. That really would be cool.
It would almost have to be
9 years' time.
I guess the only problem with that now is that it has to be a truncated season now or something, because it would only be you guys allowed to play with each other at this point, or because then now you're just the OGs, right? Like that's annoying.
Have some extra intruders.
Yeah. Like, you'd have to like mix people up different, or just play the season all over again because now everyone has has like a completely fresh slate.
It would be. I would have found it interesting. I wonder how it would have gone if it wasn't like the OGs versus newbies. I'm so intrigued to see if it was all newbies, if it was all just a fresh slate, how I would go. But yeah, it's been a fun season and a weird season. But yeah, the OGs were hard to navigate around. That's for sure.
So would you ever consider playing like an international version of Big Brother then? Would you
God,
give it
yeah. If they'd have me, they'd probably be like, she's just going to steal cordial and run around a lot, but we'll have her. No, it would be really fun. I feel like the knowledge that I have now, because I must admit, I kind of went in just being like, I'm just going to have fun. And then was like, this is a game. This is a very big game. Like, it was just so much more strategic than probably what I had realized going in. So now with the knowledge behind and knowing, I would probably do something, I would almost do the same thing again, but just knowing that like friendships are on the back foot, alliances is everything, and really focusing on like the strategy more. But yeah, I'd love to play an international version. So if anybody ever listens to this,
we're going to start a campaign. We're going to start a campaign for you. Get Gabbie on more Big Brothers.
Yeah, let's get a petition going.
I'd love it.
Yeah.
I'd love it.
Our version is really interesting in comparison, so we don't vote for head of household like you guys decide that. There's a competition that kind of decides that. The head of household now nominates 2 people for eviction. Then they all play a veto competition, right? So it's the 2 people who are nominated, the head of household, and then 3 people who are chosen at random. So those 6 now play they have now the right to remove somebody from the nomination block, the chopping block, as we call it, because you're coming off the block. So if you win, you can take yourself off. If somebody else wins, they can make a decision of who they would like to remove. And if that happens, then the head of house has to now nominate a new person. And that is who the final 2 is, and then they vote.
Yeah, the head of house has a lot of power.
A lot more power than what ours does. So who is the head of house? The people in the competition?
So everybody,
you have to win the competition.
You have to win the competition
to earn head of household. Yeah.
What? Okay, I don't want to play this one. I don't want to play this one. I'm already confused.
No, it's great. So like imagine like your nomination challenge, but just stretched out literally for a week because it's all happening live, right? So Thursday. All right, we're going to give you both versions, all right? Because there's a way to watch, and this is what is so fun about our game, is that you can watch it as what we call a casual, right? They only watch the production edited versions that come on 3 times a week, or you can be like a feeder, right? So there's 2 different ways to experience this game. So Thursday is a live eviction. That's always the case, right? You're going to get it as we go. So Thursday is a live eviction, and sometimes a live head of household competition. So either it's Thursday night is the head of household competition, or it's Friday if it's not live.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So then that happens. Now the show airs Sunday night, right? So it was on Thursday with the live eviction, so you know who went home. Sunday is when we find out who the head of house put up. And then that's kind of how that ends, right? Yeah, that one ends that way. So you just know who the head of household put up after, the live eviction and all that stuff. All right, now this is where it gets really crazy. Okay. So the veto competition that I told you about, right? Where like now somebody has the right to take somebody off the block. That veto competition is played on Monday, right? So if you watch the live feeds, now they black out the live feeds, so you can't actually watch the competition. But we have this big necklace, right? This like, like okay.
But listen, we have this big necklace.
I was just sounding so silly.
Version?
I know. Wait, our version is very cheesy. Also, it's very cheesy. All right, we don't take it as serious as you guys do. Okay. So this big necklace is like the big no sign, like the circle with the slash through it. That's like our veto symbol, right? So if you win veto, you get to wear the necklace. So if you watch the live feeds, even if you didn't see the competition, you see the necklace, right? So you're seeing who did win, and you're hearing all the conversations around like, now what's going to happen? Because it's still Monday, but the eviction doesn't happen until Thursday. So there's a lot of gameplay that's going on. Lots of stuff happening. Now, this is where things get crazy. All that stuff.
This is where it gets crazy.
It's not even crazy yet. It's not even crazy yet. So Wednesday is when the next episode airs. right? And what they do is edit down all the stuff that happened from Monday to Wednesday and put it in that episode. And that's what they air. But if you watch the live feeds, you already knew all this. The only thing you didn't know was how the competition actually went down. So you know the winner, but you don't know what happened because you didn't get to see that, right? So that's why if you're watching as a feeder, you kind of know information first. So you have to like stay off social. You have to like be really careful, like who you're following and like stuff like that. And the casuals, they only watch what comes out during the week. So that's the dip. See, and now it makes a little bit more sense once you get all the way there. Did I miss anything, John? Was that good?
It was good. It was good.
Did I miss things?
No, I don't think so.
I think that was all of it.
I think you got
I'm
everything.
like, what just happened? My brain is still back.
Gabby's like, excuse
Right.
me.
I'm gonna have to watch this back.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it to understand it, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
this is what was going on.
Yeah,
That's
but
insane.
it's really fun. It's really, really fun. So there's two ways to experience the show, and it's exciting. Yeah. But all of our evictions are live, and that's really exciting too. So like you don't get spoiled, unless you're just being
good.
lazy and you missed it, and that's on you. You knew it was on Thursday. That's your fault.
That's a you problem. That's a you problem.
Exactly. Sorry. The rest of us, we kept up.
We gotta watch it. We gotta move on. You're too slow. You gotta go.
Yeah. We have to get you to watch our next season that's starting. It's starting next week.
Okay. Oh my
So
goodness, and I don't want to talk about it, and I'll be like, oh, I felt this way.
Yes, you should get your VPN in order, and we can help you do that as well. So you're gonna send us snack, suggestions, and then we'll tell you how to get a VPN so you can watch ours.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, and you can come back and you can chat with us about it.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, we'd have a blast.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So that's that. So Canada plays it the same way.
Okay.
So that's what Tim did. So think about that as you listen to this back and same thing. Except the Canadians have way more fun twists.
Oh, cool.
They're just they just do things better than we do.
Yeah, our twists are terrible. Even your whole shopping task is so much fun. We don't have anything fun like that.
Yeah.
It's just people watching.
Yeah, I mean, the extra competitions kind of keep the thing going. And there's a lot of cheesiness around things, and they always have a twist. It always flops. It just never really does what to kind of promote.
They hype it up, and then it turns out being oh, whatever.
No, but you buy the hype. You're like, yeah, that's gonna be great. And then once it actually goes out, it's oh, well that's okay. Well, it was a twist.
Right.
Yeah.
It was something.
We don't do our own show right. We don't. And that's why we're watching international ones.
Lucky you guys did. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
House nominees and the whole concept of that is something I wish we had. I love that it gives everybody a voice and it gets everybody into the conversation, even if they didn't win something, Yeah. That's where ours is flawed. Yeah, if you don't win anything, then nobody cares about what your opinion is. You're just, and that's how people just float on through. But you're kind of forced into the conversation with the House nominees, and that's awesome.
Yeah, and that you alliances have to be formed then as well. So because obviously you could just play by yourself and be throwing one vote everywhere, but then you risk yourself going up. So you almost have to be okay, you two, what are we doing? You two, what are you doing? So it was good, and it was hard at the same time. I think it was good in the sense of if you weren't a challenge beast, it was really brilliant to bring in, because I went in being you don't win, you can't, if you come across you can win challenges, you're out. Same as last time. I remember one of the really strong guys, he was the first to go, and obviously Joel, who was a bit of a physical threat in the game, he went early because people thought the same thing. So House Norms was good to kind of break down that barrier of being well, we still get a say, we don't have to win to have some sort of power. But it was hard because especially when you got down to such little numbers, you're this could go any way. This could go any way possible. So, and then you're trying to talk to people. I can remember going up to Reggie at one point. I was are you putting a point on me? And she was no. And then she put a point on me, and I was I missed that. I did not see that coming. So yeah, it was fun. And like you would, if people did get nominated, you'd be sitting there and their names would come up and people would just blow up instantly. And they're like, who nominated me? And people are like, ooh. So it was fun.
That.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah,
Wow.
it really adds a lot.
Yeah, it's a fun aspect to the game.
Yeah. Wow. I have another question, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So this is something I'm interested. I don't want to get you in trouble either. I know you had a lot of friends in there, but as someone who was, playing on both sides, did you have one newbie or one OG that you considered like your closest ally from each side? I felt like you had good relationships on both sides, but is there one person from either side that you could pick out as like, that's my person over there?
Oh, not on a friendship level, yes. So like Alicia was definitely my closest on the newbie side. But with the OGs, like I felt really lucky. I had Tim, Estelle, Trevor, Drew. They all had my back immensely, game and on a friendship level. So my closest newbie would be Alicia, and then obviously, and Trev left so early, so it's so hard. He would have been my closest OG, but then left. So then it would have been Drew, Drew and Tully and Estelle, and then Tim to a degree, but unpredictable man. So they would be my closest in the house, and I speak to all of them now still. So
yes. Oh, awesome. Very cool. Very nice.
That's good.
All right. If you don't want to answer this, it's fine.
I love that. Oh,
yeah, because I'm nervous. I don't want to like step out of bounds, but
no boundaries here.
The relationship with Estelle, I found to be very interesting. And Estelle's gameplay, I can't decide like how I like really feel about it, because there's just so many viewpoints to kind of go for, and I feel like as a debater, I could stand on either side, and like so I have a hard time with this. But like she promotes herself as such a hard player, but so many of her decisions are not that. But I just, and this is where I'm torn, because you want to say that you're such a hard player, but you're making a lot of head decisions, and you are almost using like emotion and things as a reason for people to not work against you, right? It's almost emotionally manipulative in a way, because you're making a lot of head decisions, but you're saying that it's hard, and you're emoting in such a emotional way, right? And like you're really like, is that playing the game very, very well, or is that crossing a line? Because everything that she's saying that other people are, it almost is a little hypocritical, but then like that also doesn't mean you're not playing the game well. Like it's just
head and heart were the two most used words I've ever heard in Big Brother Australia this season.
Yeah,
and it kind of, obviously, again, always sitting on the fence, but if you used your head, you were this big, bad, like tough Big Brother player that was super strategic. But then if you were the heart player, you were this big softie that's not really playing the game and wasn't really using strategy. There's strategy in both of it. Whether you use your heart or your head more, you're always using both, and there's always a strategy behind it. But no, I definitely disliked when people would make other people feel bad for certain ways of playing their game. And it happened both times. Obviously, like a lot of people got shamed for being head players and being super strategic, but there was a lot of shame for heart players as well. So like I would definitely say my strategy was heart, in the sense of I could have been more strategic and kept the newbies on side, but realistically, I just wanted to keep my friends in and have fun. And that was my strategy because I knew they had my back. So wasn't not a strategy. It was just not, it wasn't like Tim's where he was like, well, if I do this move, then the newbies will stay on side and the OGs will stay on side. I was just like, I'm gonna keep my friends however I can, and I'm gonna give it my best shot. But no, Estelle did play this really, like it's still head and heart. Did I think she used a heart strategy? Not necessarily. Did I think she was a super strong bad kind of head player, no, but she was just, sometimes her moves were wrapped up in a bit of feeling to try and cover a really strong head move. So for example, even keeping Brenton was a really clear example. Estelle was one of my closest housemates, so sending me home, big head move, big head. So I'm interested to see what kind of happens after the show and how the housemates react for her doing that move, because don't get me wrong, excellent move, keeping an intruder over me, clever idea in top 3, but
God.
Yes, all of it is very, very smart, but I feel like the OGs are not catching, they don't catch any heat for making decisions like that, but the newbies do.
Yeah,
it's just a very frustrating thing to like sit back and watch, and it's like
Yeah.
that these moves are no different than what anything Johnson or Alicia or you did. I don't think you've gotten the same hate though. Have you been? Yeah, like, have you?
I've been really lucky. I feel like I've almost gotten away with, well, not gotten away with murder, but I just wanted to make sure that even if, like, as honest as you can be in the Big Brother house, which is really hard. But no, I've been really lucky. Like, the audience have been really excited with everything that I've done. Even my favorite concept was like my villain era was on Twitter for like a little bit. They're like, we're going to see Gabbie become a villain and we're here for it. And even that in itself, like, Taras does something to become the villain and people are like, oh my God, no, Taras, we hate Taras. Gabbie does a villain thing. They're like, bring it on, queen. They're like, let's go.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm here
you are a queen.
And like, thank you guys. Yeah, it's really hard. And that was the thing, Taras and I have spoken about it quite a bit. We didn't know how we were going to be perceived, because we could feel that production really loved Alicia and Johnson, because if you're really strong in a sense of like a really strong game player, we just thought that they were going to be adored by the audience, and we really thought that they were going to be fan favorites. And if someone had told me 6 months ago that I would have been lucky enough to be a fan favorite, I would have been like, not a chance in hell. And it's come across like this, and I've just been like in disbelief. I've been like, oh my God, the way. So,
well, you deserve it all.
Yeah, you do. I'm so happy for you. Good, because that's the way it should be. But that's the way it should be for everybody in there. No one in there did anything like wrong, you know.
No, and like even like talking about head and heart moves, like Alicia trying to keep me in the game, that was a heart move. That was her trying to just save her friend, because like that's completely going against her alliance. So, and like obviously no one's really spoken about that and been like, oh, it's really good that Alicia tried to save her friend. So it's like they just they don't notice what the newbies do when it's good, but when they do when it's bad, they're all over it.
Yeah. And it'd just be so interesting to see what the response would have been if you made those moves against other newbies. Like if there were no OGs at all.
Yeah.
Everybody was totally fresh. I feel like some of these moves wouldn't be like so hated, because that's the problem, because they don't seem to mind when the OGs do it.
No, not at all.
So it's not the move that's the problem.
No.
It's the person doing it. Like, that sucks.
And it's borderline unfair, because it's, again, we didn't sign up knowing that it was going to be OGs versus newbies, and we had no idea that All-Stars were coming back. So I think people just need to be a little kinder and a little bit more gentle with the newbies, because like they're just trying to win, and you can't, like at Big Brother, you don't get to share it with 3 other people. It's just you. So I feel like a lot of people forgot that along the way and would not realize that like you can't take everybody to the end. That's just how it works.
Right. This is the first season that they've brought like OG players back, right? So in a way, I do feel like it's an interesting thing for you newbies also, because I feel like you've almost started a new era where it's like you're the first newbies that had to take on these OGs, and I feel like even in that way, you guys are already like a historic like class of newbies. You know what I mean? Like you had to face something that no one else that's gone into the house for the first time has had to face, which is like going up against Australia's favorites. Like that's huge. Like, you know, it's so
obviously it was Big Brother's 21st birthday as well, and then to have this type of season, I just think it's so, and I can't highlight enough that we didn't know. To then walk into that was just, as much as it was terrifying, and as we've learned, we're kind of on the back foot. I still, what an awesome season to be a part of. So many people have been like, this would be my dream. Like, I got to meet all of them in one sitting, but play with them and against them is just like,
yeah.
I mean, that's
Really
so cool
cool.
to me. Like what's so cool, especially in your case, like because you were so down the middle, like you were a newbie, but you were also like pulling off moves with Tim Dormer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that whole, like even in the beginning of this week when you guys were working so hard to like put up JC, Johnson, and Alicia, you know what I mean? Like you pulled off that move with Tim Dormer. Like that's freaking awesome.
And that's what I think, guys. I was like, I totally get the newbies versus us things. But I'm like, this is, unless I get invited back in years' time, I'm not going to ever be able to say that I played, not only, like, I didn't play against the OGs, I played with them. I pulled moves with Reggie. I got to do secret challenges with Drew. I got to be super close with Tully and Estelle, and obviously pull pranks with Trevor. Not many of the newbies get to say that. And I think that they really missed an opportunity with it because, like, we're not going to do this again. We'll do it maybe in a couple of years with the next lot of newbies. But this was the one time we got to play with these awesome people. It was just, yeah, as much as it was hard, I wouldn't change it for the world.
And you got to top 10. Like you didn't just play, you didn't just stroll through and snack on some Tam Tams. like you know, like you played the hell out of the game.
Tams.
I know. I really wish you could have just let it go. Like, cause she was gonna.
I was.
I saw it in her face. Like we locked eyes for a second. She was like, "I got you," and you just set me up for failure. That's really That's really upsetting. I'm very, very disappointed.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
I would very much like to ask you about your relationship with Drew, because there are certain relationships that we didn't really get to see like the foundation of. We only saw it when production tried to make it part of the storyline. Like when Sam was like trying to get all aggressive with you and everything. It's like, get out of here. Like, stop it. And even when she said, I was like, what is she talking about? Like, I'm like, they're never even together. I was like, get out of here. I was like, stop trying to make something out of nothing.
Literally me. I don't want your man. I don't want your man, hun. He is all yours. I swear. Yeah, that was an insane moment. That was.
Yeah. It's like you're just grasping at straws, like, okay, like cute. But unfortunately, that was the very first time that we even understood that there was a relationship between you two. So I don't know. Like, if it's not prying, I would just like to hear more about it because I was very endeared towards it.
There were two relationships that I shared with housemates that I'm really sad that got missed. So Trev and I were like a father-daughter duo. That was just, it was super fun. And he would just look after me. And like every time we'd have a challenge or something would happen in the house, he would literally just hug me and be like, I'm so proud of you and your family are going to be so proud of you. And someone who loves their family, I just needed to hear that sometimes. So that was a shame that got missed between Trev and I. But yeah, Drew and I's like, he was like my big brother from almost the get-go. Like we were, and it's funny that you never see it because we were almost inseparable in a similar way that him and Sam were inseparable. So like Drew would always make me a coffee in the morning because I didn't know how to use things, and we would cook breakfast together and we would make bread together. That's how our friendship kind of started. But no, Drew and I are still really close now. He has a new partner and I am so excited to finally meet her at finale and I adore her. But no, we always talk about that he's like my emo older brother and I'm just a little ray of sunshine, little sister that gets away with murder because it was nice. And people would always be like in the house in a game sense, they'd be like, you can't trust Drew. Like he says he'll get you out. And like, I know for an absolute, I was like, he would absolutely never. So it was a beautiful friendship that got missed as well because it was the Sam and Drew show. So
that's so sweet.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's really nice.
It was a good. Well, you can even obviously see in the secret mission that we get that we're not strangers or we don't have a bond. Like we're so excited to be doing it together, and crushed it. No, but it was so much fun and like it was just brilliant. I remember two people were getting called into the diary room and then they're like Drew and Gabbie to come in, and I was like, this is going to be fun. And then as soon as Big Brother said secret mission, I looked at him and we were just like, like we were just so excited, and the fact it was us, they couldn't have picked craftier and cheeky people to do it. So yeah, it's a shame it got missed, but understandably they love a love story. So
Yeah, I mean that's what the people want.
yeah.
But
After Sam made that comment, because then obviously I voted against her because I was like, absolutely not, I'm not being belittled in this house and then saving you. And Drew was so mad at me and he was so confused. And I was like, I'm not going to be the one to tell him. I'll wait to see if she does it. And then the next day I can remember we're sitting on the lounges and I'm not speaking to him because I'm like, guilty by association, sir. I'm not talking to you anymore. We're sitting there and he just starts throwing pillows at me and I'm just trying to ignore him and I'm trying to ignore it. And he just kept throwing them at me. And then eventually he came over and he gave me a hug and he was just like, I'm proud of you and I'm sorry for being mad. I didn't know. I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. And I'm like, see, like
Aww.
it just, because obviously love Drew, but he was living his best villain life for most of the series. But there were really nice sides of Drew that kind of got missed, which sucks, especially our little like big brother and sister relationship. But no, we are still close to this day. He even texted me. He watched last night's episode. Well, he was very excited to see #Justice for Drew take off. So he can still be a part of the series. But no, he texted me and he was like, I'm just so proud of you still. So yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Cool.
Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
love that.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Are there any like other personal relationships that you feel like were kind of left out?
Oh.
Because we didn't see anything really of JC, sadly.
No, yeah, it's really it's sad for like I've messaged JC before and I was like, hey, like how you feeling? Because obviously it's never great when you don't feel like you're included in something.
Yeah.
And he just said, he goes, it sucks, but it is what it is. And I just have to, he just said, he copped it on the chin like an absolute champ, which was brilliant. But no, like JC was obviously really close with Johnson and Alicia. JC and I personally had this love-hate relationship that got missed as well, because he would just be like, so feelings, and he'd be like, Gabbie, like, why don't you trust me? And I'd be like, because I don't. Now stay away from me, boy. Like, get away. Don't trust you. So it was really, that would have been fun to watch as well, because like I could imagine us just roasting each other in the diary room, which was reciprocated and he would admit it. So that got missed as well. Who else was there? I feel like Johnson and Reggie's relationship is slowly starting to come out now, which will be interesting to see. Keep making the edit. But like they were really close. Well, they started to get really close. I think once Reggie kind of lost Dave, she's a bit of a girl's boy. That kind of makes sense. Similar to what like Alicia was, where you had like Jules, Talia, Sil, and I that were like, nah, top three girls, get these guys out of here. So no, that relationship was really beautiful as well. But I wish there had been a stronger girl power movement, because like we would have meetings. We would be like, okay, cool. Even though we're on like me being a newbie and obviously those three being on the other side, I was like, as long as I don't care. I even said it in my interview before going in. I said, I don't care who's in the top three. It doesn't need to be me. I just need an all girls. So we got ladies. There's three of you left. So
yeah, right.
I feel like Reggie has to be in the top three, because I know you can't say anything, but like I just feel like I just can't imagine that like anyone's gonna make a move against her is the thing.
That's exactly what I've said before, is
and they should.
I feel like we should have done it earlier so people forgot. We should have been like, let's get the queen out now, so people are too busy with what's going on towards the end. But no, I think Reggie has a very, very good shot at making it into top three.
Yeah.
Wow.
Me knowing, being like, I can't say a thing.
I know. I'm chuckling because like I want so badly to know, but I also don't.
I wouldn't do it because it would ruin it for you both.
It wouldn't be fun. It
wouldn't
be fun. No, it wouldn't be fun. But damn. Yeah. Shucks. Well, I don't have any more questions.
I don't have any more questions, but I do have one more thing to say. Because, oh my God, you are such a badass, by the way, in that eviction room when Sonia was talking to you guys and so Brenton was talking, Brenton was talking about like, oh, this is why you should save me and this and that. And then you just come out of there and you're like, okay, well, my question is, we're looking at 6 people on the couch. Only 3 people make it to the final 3. So who are your people? Who are you protecting? And you could just see his face was like, I didn't really think about this before I said it. And then like the way that the way you were like, what if all 6 people vote for you? Who do you protect? And then the Tim just being like, yeah, well then you're stuffed. And like, I was just like, Gabby, you are amazing. Oh my god, that was so awesome. If I heard you, if I was in that eviction room and I heard you say that, I'd be like, all right, I'm definitely keeping Gabby.
It's funny, like, because obviously like, we don't get to watch it before you guys, so I sat there and had to watch it fresh last night, and I totally forgot. I think because I was so, and even walking into that eviction room, I had a feeling that if I went up, I would go home. So I was almost, as much as I was going to fight my little heart out to stay, I was pretty confident that I was probably going to go, especially the way that Reggie and Estelle were not giving me straight answers. I just knew it, and there was just I never got to know what Brenton was obviously pitching or saying, and I didn't even realize that I was like that fiery. I was like I had my family, an extended family, come over for dinner last night to watch, and they were all just looking at me, and I was like, I'm as shocked as you are. I'm like, I don't know where this came from. I was looking, and I was like, oh my god, look at me go. I was just like, it was just like rapid fire. I was just tearing Brenton to shreds, and like I love him.
Yes,
it's brilliant. So
there was another fiery line in that. That's actually what I was rallying behind, because that's where I thought you were going, and then we didn't go there. But see, I don't remember mine verbatim because I watched it this morning. All right, so I had a whole day in between here. All right, so but there was a point where he was basically saying like an intruder has never won, and chances are I'm not gonna win. And then, so then you said, you all said that you wanted to go against the best. And if you're going against somebody who already basically knows you're going to lose, which is not verbatim, but like you had a ratio in there. But like,
I know
that was it. Yes. And so like, then what did you come here for? Is that really what you came here to play for? And I was like, oh my God.
I know. I feel like I was just grasping at straws. I was just like, pick apart everything.
Honestly, I didn't think it was. I thought that was pretty strong. I went, whoa. I said,
it didn't feel.
Say that? I went back and I was like, wait a minute.
Right. Like, it did not feel. It did not feel like grasping at straws. It felt like every argument Brenton was trying to make, you were just unraveling right in front of him. That's what it felt like.
It's not an eviction; it's a debate.
Every time he said something, it's like, oh well. You were right there to shoot it right down before. Didn't even get off the ground good.
Yeah, I'm sitting here like, yes, Gabby.
That's what it was. People in the house were like, no, I want to compete. I want to be. Because so many people were like, oh, I'm not taking people to the top 3 that I know I'll win against because like that's winning by default. And they would say it. So then I was like, you're liars. All of you, and I'm about to call you all out before I leave. One last hurrah, because it was. I was like, you're saying, oh, I want to compete with the best. I want to play with the best. And that's not saying that I am. But if you're taking an intruder to the end because you know you'll beat him, you guys are just liars. Liars. So it was, I had totally forgot that part of the eviction. I was just ready to watch me cry my way through it. But no, it was really cool. It was fun to watch me just be like, oh, what about this? And what about this?
Oh, it was awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. And I was like, she might pull this one off. And I was like, wouldn't that be something? I was thinking. Yeah.
You would have won me over.
Reggie was never going to change her mind. I was the only person I was counting on was Estelle. And then I knew that it would be a draw and Tim would decide. So yeah, it's always hard going home with one, like knowing that if it was one more person, or even if, well, obviously if Tim had have pulled me out of the mix, there's just, so, and honestly, like Tim has copped it online.
I was furious. I was furious that he didn't save you.
God.
I know. It would have been fun to watch what could have been. That's for sure.
The thing is that I wasn't furious. Like I was annoyed, but I still didn't see a world where you were leaving anyway. Like I really did think it was fine. So I was like, I would have liked to see her go, but that's fine. That's fine. She'll be all right. And like, I was really still very surprised it still ended the way that it did. Yeah.
I know it was a sad one, but there's if you ever get onto 7+, there's an exclusive scenes that they kind of do. And one of them is called Gabbie's Anger. And it's just me crying. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I'm watching it and I'm like, first of all, why is it called Gabbie's Anger? Why do I need a whole 3-minute skit of me being angry? And then I look at it and it's just me crying anyway. And I'm like, Seven, what are you doing to me?
I have to watch it now. I didn't even know those existed.
Yeah, exclusive clips. We did a fashion show. That's on there. Cordial Gate. So you'll see Taras and I hiding cordial, which is pretty fun. That's something I posted on my Insta.
Is that where the tinfoil hat thing is? I've heard about this tinfoil hat thing.
Yeah, the tinfoil hat.
I think when the hackers were there.
Yeah. So I posted some. I've tried to pull, because again, not many people are going to make it all the way to the website. So I've always contacted like the social team and I've been like, hey, like, can you send this to me to post and can you do this? So I've tried to take advantage of, I guess, trying to share it with you guys instead. So, but no, there's lots of fun stuff in there. So you'll have to have a look.
Yeah. The only thing I've gone on there for was like to see who really voted where. I hate that about the edit. Like, why do they play games? Just show us. Or at least do, like Survivor and show us at the end or something.
You would barely get to see who I voted for.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, cut. I'd be like, I would be like,
because you always had the most intriguing vote too. So they're like, oh, like we're gonna show us calling Gabbie in, but we're not gonna show her voting.
What are you gonna do now?
Yeah, like what did Gabbie do?
But that's also kind of fun too, isn't it?
Yeah,
like in its own way. Like that's kind of cool. Your vote is so special.
Yeah,
never aired,
and that's something that you can take away. Like, you went home much sooner than we would have liked, but you had an impact every single week in that house. So,
well, it's funny. I remember I looked again. Should never, but I was looking through the Big Brother page and I saw comments. I remember this one stood out to me. And she said something about like Gabbie didn't even play the game. She was a follower. And I was like, did we watch the same season? I was like, hun, I don't know what to tell you, but I got in trouble so many times for doing whatever I wanted. So thank you for your feedback, but I'll politely decline.
You were still like weren't on anyone's radar until the end.
Yeah, right. You were like constantly walking this tightrope between both alliances and did it like beautifully. So I don't know what anybody else is talking about.
Yeah, well, I always managed to get away with it. Like, I can remember really clearly after I decided, this is early, when I decided to save Drew over Mel. And then Joel came up to me and he was like, okay, like, I totally get it. This was my fault. I probably shouldn't have threatened you. And I was like, it is your fault. And I was like, brilliant. I was like, I'm not to blame anymore. I was like, yep, you just made me feel this way. And that's why I did that. When in reality, it's funny watching the edit, but like I knew I was saving Drew very early. And I remember being in the eviction room being like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I knew very early on exactly what I was going to do. So you just have to play. You have to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
No, you look like you did. Very endeared towards you.
Yeah.
Yay!
I don't have anything left.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You've spent a lot of time with us. Thank you.
so much with us.
So much. This was so awesome.
No, I've loved
we loved it. Yeah.
I was counting down my little list of being like, okay, where are you guys? Where are you guys? And I was like, we finally did it. I know even yesterday I had so many interviews and I was like, but Thursday's going to be a fun one. So it's going to be great.
Yay! Oh, thank goodness. That makes me feel so good.
I love that this started with you guys seeing that I was wearing a New York Yankees hat. That's my favorite part of that, I think.
I was like, how does she know about that? Because like at first I don't know, it was like weeks before I really even noticed. And I was like, wait a minute. New York Yankees. I was like, John, did you notice that?
Like, we talked about this. We talked about it on the podcast. We're like, it's so fun seeing like Gabbie wearing a Yankees hat and like,
because someone must have sent me a clip or somebody must have. I don't know if you guys tagged me in it or there was something, and that's where this all kind of started of then finally getting in touch. But it's so funny, and it like I can remember my mum. Because I'm the worst packer. So it sounds silly because obviously I was like cabin crew, flight attendant. So I probably should be so much better. But I put all my stuff in and then I got to, because we did a week in quarantine in a hotel before going in. I called mum and I was like, I didn't pack a hat. I probably should have packed a hat. So she sent me one down to the hotel. I didn't make it in time. So they had to actually drop it into the house, into the laundry. I was so excited to get it. But I only got it like halfway or like maybe third into the season or something. But
Oh my gosh, maybe that's why. Maybe that's exactly when I noticed
you
it.
never would have
So I was
noticed
like,
it
how
before.
could it be that it'd be weeks in that I just picked up on it? That's why.
Yeah.
Wow,
no,
that's so cool.
Mm.
I
Wow.
love that. Yay. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah,
No,
thank you so much.
Yeah.
I've loved this. This has been awesome.
Oh, thank you.
You're
You have
the-
to come back when
yeah.
everything is over and we can like
Yes. Oh my god, gladly.
really debrief.
Gladly.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can talk about the winners. We can talk about finale, how it was. We can do it all.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're trying to go into work late that day so that we can like hang out live after the finale. Yeah.
Yeah, because we
Because
have to
that's,
watch all this stuff at like 5:30 in the morning here at our time. Like 6 in the morning is like live for us. So
Yeah. Oh
rough.
my god.
It's rough. So I mean, I get up at 7 because like that's when it shows up on 7 Plus, and it's like because I
Yes.
gotta stay off Twitter like all day. I can't wait all day because if I start scrolling through, I'm gonna get spoiled, you know. And then there's no point. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough in this neck of the woods.
It's an early start.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much.
listen, it's worth it to watch you and these other house guests in there. So you know.
I'm so excited. That makes me so happy. So happy.
No, you guys made this a really, really fun season. And yeah. I'm so happy we stumbled upon it. We didn't even know it was starting. Like Big Brother Canada had just ended. And then I was like, whoa. I was like, Australia's starting. I'm like, do you want to watch this?
We decided like 2 days before that we were going to watch and talk about it on the podcast. Never thinking that we would have the opportunity to like talk to you and to Raz and Tully. Like it's been incredible. Like we love you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, I was so excited.
Really, really fun.
I didn't even know that Tully had come on. And then obviously I remember getting the message from Taras and I was like, he got on there before me? I was like, shit. I was like, nah, not a chance. So no, so excited to even be considered to be a part of it.
Oh my gosh, get out of here.
Wow.
No way. Thank you so much.
No, the pleasure
This
is all
great.
ours.
So we'll definitely have it back in a couple of weeks. Oh, and we're going to tell you about the VPN so you can watch ours.
Yes.
Because I would love to get your opinion
Yes.
on our version. Yeah.
Me
I
literally after
think
this.
I think she's going to hate it.
I'm going to be messaging you being like, okay, I'm confused. What is this? What does that mean?
It sounds so much more complicated, but I promise you, we're very simple over here. We're very
Okay.
simple.
We don't actually have any idea what we're doing, but we've managed to do this. So
For some reason, we're on our 24th season, so here we are.
yeah.
Something right.
Now we said goodbye like a million times, but again, thank you.
Yes.
And,
thank you so much, Gabbie.
Yeah.
No, thanks for having me. Been an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Bye, babe.